Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Tommy today. Today we are going to be learning how to apply eyeshadow. It can be intimidating if you're a beginner, but I promise it's not that bad once you get the hang of it. It's just mostly about patience. So let's talk about what we need for tools first and foremost. What you're going to need are brushes to apply the eyeshadow properly. What you're going to need for brushes is hold on, I remember the name. Is a tapered brush. This is going to help with the transition shade. You're going to want like a fluffy packing brush. I think that's what it's called. Oh, this is called a mini shading brush. Well, I'll show you what I use that for. And you're going to want a blending brush. You also might want a little packing brush for corners and for the lid, but we'll talk more about that as we go along. These are just the brushes that I found work the absolute best for me. You might find brushes that work better for you. By all means, experiment. We are going to use the Conspiracy palette today. Here she is in all her glory. I use her so much. Oh, she's beautiful. And you know, I only got it because of the Shane Dawson series, and I love Shane so much. He's just so relatable and adorable. I didn't even care for the colors, but now that I use it, I love it. So anyway, that's that story. To start, we're going to want to use our tapered brush, and we're going to kind of get an idea of the colors that we want to use before we start using them. I think I want to do a natural eye, kind of like a neutral eye, just to be safe, just as a beginner kind of tutorial thing. And what you're going to want to do first is take a white, if there's a white, and we're going to just lay that all over our lid. So I have it all over the tapered brush, and we tap out that excess. This shade is called Ranch, if I remember right. And we're just going to lay that all over up here. And the reason I'm doing this is because the white right up top really helps make the neutral eye look more dramatic. Lay it right across the top. There we go. Beautiful. And then we're going to take our silicone mat and clean the brush. I'm going to take the shade My Pills, which is a really, really light peach shade. And it's the closest shade to our skin tone. So whenever we're doing our eyeshadow, we're going to want to use this shade that's lightest and use it as a transition shade. And what that means is we lay it right along, kind of where you can see the eyeball sets into your skull. And we're going to just lay it there and blend it out. Make sure you're holding your brush near the end. That really helps with the blending and makes your lines look softer and less harsh. There we are. Dip back in, tap it out, go for the other side. Depending on your eye shape, you may need to lay this on differently. Some people kind of flare it out to the side. For my particular eye shape, I noticed that if I just stay within my eyebrow line, it looks great. But again, said it a billion times, whatever works best for you guys, do it that way. Okay, fantastic. I think that's pretty well a good base layer. Wipe it off on the silicone mat, and we're still going to use the tapered brush to deepen the transition shade. And what that means is we go one shade darker and lay it just underneath where you lay the transition shade. So the shade darker I'm looking at is probably going to be Tamacon. Tanacon? If you have the palette, you know what I'm talking about. We lay it just right under. See that? And you blend it out. Okay, fantastic. Again, we're going to clean off our tapered brush by rubbing it on that silicone mat. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take that packing brush, I forget what its actual name is, but we're going to take that, and I'm going to go in a darker shade called Diet Root Beer on this particular palette. It's like a darker brown. Get a little bit on there, tap it out, and I'm just going to pat it right on the corner. Just like that. There we go. Beautiful. Alright, fantastic. And then we're going to take our blending brush and blend that right in. And we don't want to blend that up too much because then it's going to get a little muddy. We want to keep it right on this lid here. Now what we're going to do is choose a color for our lid. I like using shimmers on my lid, and I like using bright colors on my lid. So what we're going to do is stare at the palette in fear while we figure it out. So let me show you something pretty interesting here. I have my packing brush, which I found works best for applying a lid shade, but as far as brushes go anyway. I get a little bit on there, and I kind of tap it on, but that's not really as dramatic as I want it to be. At all. You can barely see it. So what you can do is you can take some setting spray and spray it on there. Get it a little bit wet basically. Re-dip it in and kind of tap that on, and that tends to make it a little more dramatic. Yeah, that's a little bit closer to what I'm looking for. But what you can really do, which I hate doing, but you can dip your finger in. Yeah, and swipe it on like that. And do you see the difference? Hopefully, by chance. Do it yourself. It is a huge difference between the drama on the two. The only reason I don't really like using my finger is that I have, I don't know, big fingers, and it like goes above where I want it to be, whereas with the brush you get more precise over here. So there's a little bit of a sacrifice there, but I'm okay with it. If I walk out of the house not looking like a zombie, it's a good day, okay? So we can also find a nice bright color to pop in the corner of our eyes to add a little more drama. So I'm just going to take a little bit of the silver on my finger, poke it in the corner there. And there we go. Fairly neutral eye. Didn't take us very long at all, and we only used just a few colors. Very basic colors found basically in any makeup brand. Do your own experiments, find what works best for you as always. But that's all the information that I have during this episode. If you have any tips, tricks, anything to add, if I forgot anything, please leave a comment in the comment section below. Otherwise, I'm Tommy today. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.